Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Naizan. So in this session, we are going to learn about the what is a data warehouses. So what is a data warehouses? So actually, the concept of data warehouses first came into use in the 1980s. Bill Inman and Ralph Kimball are considered the father of the data warehouse. So he is a guy of the Ralph Kimball. He is a Bill Inman. These two guys are developed the data warehouse concepts. So they are actually they are considered as a father of the data warehouses. Before we move to the data warehouse, we should know what is the data. So data is nothing, which is the information of the object. So what is the object? Whatever we have to see in, that is object. So let's take an example. If I have the pen in my hand, that is object. So what is the property of that pen? The pen can write the blue color. The pen have the black color. The pen has the this company, that company. The pen has the cap. So these are the properties of the pen. So that property we have called the information. This information is the data. So data is nothing, which is the information of an object. Okay. So data is one of the asset in the current world. So data is a major asset, like it is a most important asset in the current world. Why? Because without data we can't run any business. Without data no one can run the business. Okay. So data might be numbers, characters, symbols, images, videos, audios, files, etc. Like there are many data, many formats of the data we have in that world. So these are all the datas. So nextly is the databases. So what is the databases? Why we should want to the databases? So before we want to know, we have one example. So I have the cash of the my packet. Okay, so this is a 1 rupees coins. This is a 10 rupees coins. This is a 100 rupees. This is a 500. So I have the many lots of amount in my packet. Okay, so this is a shirt packet. This is my pant packet. This is my bedroom room shelf. This is my another place. So if I have a cash in separate place means suddenly if I want to found the 500 rupees note, so I want to search from everywhere. So I just want to check my packet. I just want to check my rooms, shelf, bureaus, everywhere I need to check so everywhere I need to check for separately. So it will take more time to identify the amount because it all amounts are been splitted. So what we can do? So we can do one thing. All the amount we can put it into the one common place. So that place is called the purse. So if all the amount will comes under the purse means we can take it from the purse, or whenever we want to the amount we can just open our purse, then directly we can get it from the which amount we want, directly we can get. So this will taking as time has been saved. So we don't want to search in each and every places. We can search from only this purse itself. So it will be time saving. So this is actually exactly it's doing for the database. So what is a database? Database means it's a collection of data, which means the database can store all the data into the one common places. So if I have the data in separate places means we can't reuse the data. We can't be take it the data in quickly. So another example, you can see there is one of the drawing I have written, one of the drawing I have drawn in my this paint application, right? So if I suddenly close this button, so what will happen? It will never saved. So it just went, all the data has been deleted. So if I want to tomorrow the same this picture, I want to redraw the again all the picture, right? So instead of that, we can do one more thing. We can save this drawing to in my local. So if I save in this drawing picture in my local means, if I come to tomorrow also, I can be take it the data in the same places. So I can be use this data again, right? So actually that is called the reusing. So whenever we have to storing our data into any one particular place, so then when again and again I can reuse the data, right? So that is what we have to store the data. So where we can store, that is the called the databases. So in this databases only we can store our data. So this is what the data is nothing but which is a collection of data, which means it's storing the data. It's a particular area, so that area it's called the database. So database is a collection of information. We should store our data any of the place. We can store our data in any of the place. That place is called the databases. So we can store any of the places in the database. So that is called the database. Without storing the data in the database, we cannot reuse the data again and again. I already told, right? So if we are not able to storing, if we are not storing the data, then we can't reuse the data again, right? So that is called that is the reason we have to storing the data into our database. So in our market, there are many databases has been released. So Oracle, SQL Server, DB2, Teradata, MongoDB, Snowflake, Ingress, MySQL. There are many databases actually they are released. So this is how we can. This is what the database actually. So okay. So next layer is the ETL. So what is a ETL? Why it comes to this picture? So we need to learn about this ETL. So I have the data into in my local. So this is how my data it looks like. So I have like this data. So this is the called the data. So I can where I can store this data. I can store this data into my database. So the whatever the database we have the many databases, right? Like I already told the databases Oracle, SQL Server, DB2, Teradata. So there are many databases. So we can store our data into the any databases. Okay. So how can we have to store the data? So if it is a simple data or if it is a very small data, like we can consider as a data is a 100 MB, 200 MB. It is we can consider say this is a small size of the data. So we can easily store it into our database. So we never require any other tools. Like we can take an as an example. If you are putting the status into your WhatsApp, so what is the size and what is the time it can be accepted? Till now they are accepted only for the 30 seconds of the video, or if you want you can add the now they are updated for that audio as well. So we can put the status as a photos as well. So these are the very limited size of the data, right? So we can directly, if the data has been very limited, means we can directly upload our data into our database. That is the very easiest task. But if our data it is in real time, we will never get the data this much of very small. So in real time, we will get the data as a 1 TB or 2 TB, 5 TB. Like there are many. So we have received the data is a very big data only. We will receive in my in our real time. So if it is a very big data, means we cannot load the data into in our database easily. So we cannot load our database with using the simple upload option. So what we have to do? So we have to use for the any of the ETL tool. So that is the reason we have to go with the ETL. So what is a ETL? So we have to go with the one more options called the ETL. So that is a process. We have to make that process and loading into in our database. So what is a ETL? ETL means we should know what is the ETL. So ETL means E as an extract, T as in transform, L as in load. So this is called the ETL. Actually, ETL is the one of the process. So if our the data is very big, means we have to follow the ETL process. Then only we can load the data into our database. So what is the ETL? ETL means extract, transform, and load. So what is the extract? It's actually extracting the data, which means it is the get the data from the source system. So like this is called the source. This is called the source. We have to get the data from source. That is called the extract. Extracting means it is the extracting the data, get the data, taking the data. And what will do? And it's going to do for the transformation. Transformation means what is a transformation? Transformation means nothing but actually it is doing some changes into our data. Why we are going to do some the changes into our data? So let's take an example. So if you are go to the vegetable shop, you have to buy some vegetables into in your shop. So you have to buy the some vegetables. You are not going to directly cooking the vegetables. You just buy the vegetable and you will never directly cooking into the vegetables without doing anything. What we have to do? We just clean the vegetables. We should clean the vegetables and we have to add some ingredients of the vegetables. Whatever it's required, all the things we have to do in this place. Then only we started our cooking. Okay, right? So we have to do some cutting and we have to do some cutting. All the things we have to do, right? So this is called the transformation. Now that same transformation is we are applying on here itself also. So the source means like the source means all the data has been collapsed. Like sometimes the data it's coming like this. So the sometimes the data it's coming like all are like all of the case has been the collapsed. So what we have to do? So the data should be we have changed like this. So this is how we have to change the data. And also here also we have to do that change the data. So if you want to add the first letter only is a capital, we can do. And if you want all as in a small letter also we can do. If there if our phone number means like this is that this is actually if our phone number means what we will do. So this is the phone number should be have the start with the +1. So these are all the changes. Actually, the phone number doesn't contains with the +91 means we have to do the +91 before the phone number. So these are all the things we have to do in the transformation. Okay, so this is called the transformation. Once transformation is done, once transformation is done, then we can do the loading. So this is called the load actually. So extracting the data from the source system and do the transformation, whatever it's required if the business required. So then we can do the transformation, then we can directly load it into our databases. This is called the ETL process. So in our market, there are many ETL tools are released. So what are the ETL tools? We have the ETL tools. We can see the Informatica Power Center, Talent, ODA, SSIS. There are many ETL tools we have. I will show to that. So actually, yeah, this is the ETL layer. Sorry, this is the ETL slide. So ETL means extract, transformation, and load the data. Like and the load. That is called the ETL. It extract the data from different sources and transform the data according to the business logic and load it into another database, which means like we have to all the extracting and transformation done, then we can load it into our databases. Okay, so in our market there are many ETL tools we have. One is the Informatica Power Center, Talent, Oracle Data Integration, Data Stage, SSIS, Abiniship, Pentaho, Big Data. There are many ETL tools we have. If you want to ETL tools, we have to buy the ETL tools and we can start loading the data from the source system to our directly databases. What is mean by the source system? Sources means like a when where we have to get the data, where we have to receive the data. From here only we have to receive the data, right? So who's give the data? They're called the source system. So he is given the data. So this is called the source system where the data is going to the. So in my databases, this is called the database. Okay, so here we have to give the data which is a destination or target. So we have to get the data from the source and we have to put the data into our target environment. So next slide we are going to learn what is the next slide. So staging and data warehouses. So what is the staging? So a staging area or landing zone is an intermediate storage area used for data processing during the extract, transform, and load ETL process. The data staging area sits between the data sources and the data targets, each which are often data warehouses, data marts, or other data repositories. So, what is the staging? Actually, what they are actually try to explain here. So, staging means nothing, which is the one of the staging is nothing, which is the memory space area. So, it is a landing zone, which means actually we have the data in our source. So, what is a source? Wherever we have to get the data, that is called the source, right? So, this is a source. We can't directly load the data into our database. This is what we have to see just now. So, this is a database. So, we can't directly load into our database. We have what we have to do. So, we just use the any ETL tool. So, any ETL process we have to do the ETL process, then only we can directly load it into our databases. So, what is a staging area? So, we have to done the ETL, then directly the data will comes into the in this databases. Actually, they are separated into three different places. One is a stage, another one is a databases, another one is a data warehouses. So the finally we will comes to the data warehouse. Just now, as of now, I just take it as a two area only. So the first area is a staging area. Then after that one, it's coming into the database area. So this is a database. Okay, so this is a staging, which means nothing. Actually, we have to take the data and we are not going to directly loading into our databases. We just kept the data into in my staging area. In that staging area only, we have to from that staging area only we have to load the data into my in databases. So the staging area is the landing zone. What is a landing zone? The data, whenever the data we have to receive from there, we just landing those data into in my staging area. That is called the staging area. So from that stage, we can load it into our data in our databases. Actually, this is called the staging. Okay, now we are going to learn about the warehouse. What is a warehouse? It is a centralized large database. It stores integrated, summarized, and historical data for an analysis decision making purpose. So, what is actually they are trying to explain to us? So, data warehouses. We should know what is a data warehouses. We have two. If I'm going to buy a product from the Oracle, so I just went for the Oracle and I asked to them. So, give me the databases. So, usually what they are doing? Usually they are given to us the database directly. They will given to us the database. So after few days, what they are doing, they are given to us two different databases. So one is the database, another one is they are calling as a data warehouse. So what is a warehouse? Warehouse is also one of the storing area, right? So what is the meaning of the warehouse? What are all the objects we have, we can put it into our warehouses. So from that warehouses we can get it the data from there. Okay, so what is the database? Database is also one of the database is also one of the storing area, and warehouse also storing the area, right? So it comes with it combines with the data warehouse, means like this is also storing the data, this is also storing the data. So what is the difference between them? So both are storing the data, then why what is the purpose they are separated for these two things? So the major reason for they are separated is, so if I have to go with one company, so this is a company, I just the company name is one of the company name like a ABC. So this is a company, so there is one employee called the ex-employee. So whoever they have the employees in working in this ABC company, he has the one of the ID card. So the ID card number is a 100. So this is the data of the ex. So ex employee have the ID card number. Okay, so what he has doing? So he use that idea and he just enter the company. So with using uh, is just entering this company with using his ID card and do the attendance or do the some works in this company, and out come out like log out from that company. Okay, so he has doing with ID card with using the login and log out, and he is doing some works inside that. So this is what actually the hunter is doing. So he is currently working on that company. If suddenly he is in a out he is put the resignation of this company and he went out from this company. Okay, so after 5 years he's trying to enter again this company with using this ID card. So now he is an invalid person because he's not working on this company, right? Whenever he has resigned from that company, after the next day itself he is not active. So if he is trying to enter this company, it's not possible. Whenever the data is active, then only can it's possible. Without active, the data has been whenever the data is active, then only can be entering this company. If the data has been inactive, then it is not able to he is not able to go inside the company, right? So if he are not able to go inside the company, he is not able to do any work as well. So he is not able to come outside as well because he is not able to go inside, right? So how can this process is done? So anyway, so the X will be not used for in this data as of now. So previously, whenever he has an active, that time only the data has been used for us. If he is not working on this company, this time the data is not used for us. So what we can do? So the data is not going to be, we are not going to be used in this data. So what we will do? We can simply delete it, right? So what will happen? So we can delete the data. So if again, if Y will be joined this company, means we can store his data only. Why you want to keep the X data? So but no companies or no one going to delete the data. So you have completed your education last 5 years, 6 years, you can complete it whenever you have to time. But now also you can go in your school, in your college, you can ask to them about your information. They just kept it in your information there itself only. But you are an inactive member, right? So anyway, so if you are active or inactive, they will not consider us anyway, they will store your data. So initially what they are actually doing, active data also storing into here, inactive data also storing into here. So what will happen if we are storing the both data into the same places? Means so the storage capacity very quickly it's going to be full, the memory space is out, right? Like the storage capacity is completed, we can't again and again store the data in the same database. If the data is the database is completed the storage, every database having the some kind of storage only, like if it is a 4 GB or 10 GB kind of the databases, we have this memory space. Like it's an example is a memory card. So how much can data can store in our memory card? If it is a 2 GB memory card, means we can store the 2 GB memory space only, right? If you are crossing the 2 GB, or then we have to delete the data and then we have to buy the new memory card. For this case we can't delete the data, right? So you have to come out the college or schools, it's a very long back. Now we can go and they're asking to them, we can get our detail from the places actually. So we have to get the info, we can collect the data from college and the school as well. So we cannot be deleted the data. So what will happen? So if you are storing the same places, all the data into the if you are storing the same places and all the data, easily it will be quickly it will be a fully quickly it will be complete this database. So again and again we have to go by the new database.
So actually what they are doing, so instead of doing again and again buying this database, we have to do one more thing. We can store it in this database we can store under this database only active data. We don't want to store our inactive data into the database. We can store inactive data into our data warehouses. So that is the what they are actually separated for this database and data warehouse. So what is a inactive data? It is not like a inactive data, it is a history data. So in database, actually, we are storing into here current data. In our data warehouse, we are going to storing into here historical data. So this is actually most important thing. So historical data is the most important. If you have the historical data, then only we can predict the future. They gave two names for this database and data warehouse. What is the name of it? So the name they are given to us, this is called as a OLTP, and this data warehouse actually what they are given to this name as a OLAP. So what is mean by OLTP and OLEP? OLTP means an online transaction transaction process. Actually, they are given to the name as here online transaction process in OLAP. Like this is a OLAP, right? So here they are given to the name as a online analytical process. What it mean by the online analytical process, what it mean by the online transaction process. So online transaction process means it's a current data. So daily basis the data has been the doing some transaction. Here we have to do some transaction, you can see here. So x data, if it is x data is active, means it is a data it's going to be login today, and today also it's going to be login, tomorrow also it's going to be login, every day it's going to be login in this x data if it is in an active mode. So if it is in not active mode, so that is actually what we are calling the transaction. So here we have the data, now it's going to be login, so some transaction is happening, now it's doing something in here in this place. So there are some transaction is going to be happening in this place as well. So now the data is coming outside as well. So the data is used for regularly, that is what is the transaction process, which means the transaction is happen for daily basis. Okay, so online analytical process means, which is nothing but actually if the same X is inactive data, means we should want to go the data, it is not going to be a regular basis. Like the data, it should not going to be a inside, it is not going to be a login, it is not going to be do some work, it is not going to be a logout as well. So if it is a analytical data means, if the analytical data means we should analyze the data in this data, actually it's not going to do some transaction inside. It is just if you want to know the analytical data, if you want to know about the data warehouse data, means we should analyze the data, then only we can give the proper in output to them. Okay, so that is called they are using for the analytical process, that is called they are using for the transaction process. Actually this is what they are actually do the separation for the database and that data warehouse. Okay, so what is a data warehouse? Actually they are telling it is a centralized large database. Why they are calling as a large database? Now we can come to the same example. So when the data is going to the data warehouse, so always whenever we have to receive the data from the source system, always we have put it into the database only. Then how it's going to the data warehouse? Now we can take it as example. So we have the 6 months of data into storing into this place. Okay, Jan, Feb, March, April, May, and June. Okay, so these are all the 6 months data only. We have to store it into in this place. Which place? That is the place is called the database. Okay, so we have to store all first 6 months of data only into our database. So when the data is going into the data warehouse, this is actually database. This is actually data warehouse. So when the data is going to the data warehouse, suddenly if again July month it came. So after the June month, we have to receive the July month as well. So now you can see what is the 6 months of data. So from July to Feb only the 6 months of data. Now which month is going to the historical data? Jan month is the historical data. So we have to move those Jan month into our data warehouse. Okay. Again, if we are coming into the June, July, August, if the August month is came means, then now what is the 6 months of data? From August to March only is the 6 months of data. Now we can move the February data is an historical data. So this is how we have to kept all the data in our data warehouses. Now we can consider here in OLTP. OLTP means nothing, which is a database. OLAP means nothing, which is a our data warehouses. Now you can consider how many months of we can store it in our OLTP. We can store it only 6 months of data only in here. But in OLAP, you can see whenever it's coming into the next month will be always storing into the data warehouses only. Okay, so like that we have to given to here in 2020 data, 21 data. So all years of data will be storing into here only. Okay, now we can see here we have the large data, we can store it into here, but here we have to storing in the very small size of data. So that is called the OLTP is a smaller database, OLEP is a larger database. So that is a call they are actually given to here. It is a centralized large database, which means we have the database one is a one of the, so it is a database. Data warehouse means like we have to there are many databases is combined, that is called the data warehouses. Okay, so it stored integrated, summarized and historical data for analysis and decision making purpose. So I already told, right? So the way we are storing the data, we are storing the summarized data and historical data for analyzing purpose. For what is the reason for making some decision. So that is the reason we are to storing the historical data. So now we need to understand what is the difference between OLTP and OLAP. Already I told everything, so again I just trying to explain the thing. So designed for the transaction purpose. So for OLTP, it is actually designed for the transaction purpose, which means like if you want to store the data in daily basis, or if you want to do the any transaction happen in the daily basis, then we can store the data under the OLTP. So that is actually for the designed trans. It is actually by basically it's designed for the transaction purpose. OLAP means designed for analysis and reporting purpose, which means like we don't want to do the transaction here. Then what is the use of this OLAP? We have to do the some analysis. From that analysis, we can make the reporting. From that reporting only, we can do the business, like how it is going to be happen, how it is looks like the data, how the data it looks like for the previously, now how the upgrade is happening, like that we can do, right? So what is the next step? So next point is data modification or frequent. So in OLTP here they are actually doing the frequent data modification, which means you can see here we have to, if you are currently working on this company, your location, your base location is one of the location. If you are in base location is Chennai, means you have to given your location in your company. I'm on my base location is Chennai. Suddenly if you are relocated to the some other location, it's called the Bangalore location. So now what you are doing, so your current company you have to given to them, my base location is now I have just relocated to this company, you have to update this information into in your area. So when they are updating, if you are currently working on that company, then only they are updating your addresses or phone numbers, whatever you want to update. Then if you are active data only, they can be a they we have here we have to do the update. So here you can see if we are in inactive data, if you are not working on this data, or else you can consider, say if you are you have the different location after completing the college. Are you given to the your locations to into in our college? No, we are not going to given to our locations into our college. Whenever we have to study in that college, that time only we have to given our information to that college. So there, that is what's a frequently update is happening into the OLTP only. So whatever the changes is happening into in this place only. Once we are to coming in outside, then we don't want to do the update on here. So that is what they are actually here explained. So data modification are frequently it's happening, but here data modification are not happening frequently. Okay, so OLTP is normalized and OLAP is a denormalized. What is mean by the normalized and what is mean by the denormalized? It is one of the separate concept we will learn about in the future. Anyway, I will tell some basic things about the some two line of explanation about the normalization and denormalization. So normalization means like if you have the normalization concept means, I just expand the screen. So normalization means if we have the one big table, so this is a very much of big table. What we are going to do, we just do whenever we have to querying this big table, it will take more time to get the result, because if it is a big table, right? If I'm doing the query like a select star from, if the query has been, if I'm just putting into the select star from this table, means what will happen, this table having the million of data, so it will take more time to get the result. Or so what we are going to do, so we just make separated of this table. So this is one table, this is one table, like that. So if you have to very big table means, we can do the separate tables. So we can give this is a table as a T1, this is a table as a T2, So this is a table as a T3. Like that, if we have the very big table means we can do the make separation for those big table into the separate table. So like that, if we are doing like this means this is called the normalization. One big table is going to be separated to three or four tables. That is called the normalization. Denormalization means if we have the lots of separate tables means we have to get it all the data and put it into one single table. That is called the denormalization. So all the different tables we have put it into in the one places. So that place is called the this process is called the denormalization. So actually why they are doing like this? Already we have the big table only. Then again why they are doing the separator? Again then why they are doing for the combine all the tables? So this is a what is unnecessary work. So this is actually we are going to learn about the future. This is actually called the denormalization normalization process. We will learn about the future in-depth knowledge of about this. So maintains the small data. Here we have to maintain the large data. I already told about these things. So in data warehouses, actually we are always maintaining the small I'm sorry. So in the databases, we are always maintaining the small set of data. I already told, right? So here we have to storing in the 6 months of data, but here we have to storing in the years data. So that's what OLTP always having the small set of data, and OLEP always having the large set of data. So OLTP always having the read and write data. In OLAP is the read only data. What is mean by the read and write data, and the OLAP is a read data? So we'll comes to here. So read and write data means we can see the data as well, we can do the editing as well. So I already told. So if it is a current data in the text in ex employee, he can give the whatever the changes is required. So if he has moved the if he has relocated the another location means he can give to their address. Actually the data has been changed, so he has to changed his phone number. He has to update it to the company as well. So the data has been frequently changed. So here the OLTP sorry yeah OLTP the data has been changed frequently. So read and write will be happening on here. But once the data is coming into in this place, we are not going to be the changes. Anything we will never going to be changes into once the data is coming into the OLAP. Always we have to do the changes into in your OLTP only. So that is what they are calling as a here we can do the read and write we can do, but once the data is coming into the OLAP, we will never go into the read and sorry, we will never go into the write access. We just want to, if you want to know the data means we can just read the data only. So in OLTP, we are always maintaining the fresh data. OLAP means we are always maintaining the historical data. I already explained this. So what is the historical data? What is the fresh data? Whenever we have to receive the data from the source system, that is a fresh data. We, we can store the fresh data into the OLTP. Those fresh data, once we have to move into the historical, when is the data it's coming into the old data, that time if it is coming into the old data, that those old data we have to move into the OLAP. So that is actually the difference between OLTP and OLAP. Okay, so now we are going to learn about the what is the next layer. Next layer is a data mart. So what is a data mart? Before we should know the data mart, we have to know about the structure. So architecture, if we are know that this architecture, then only we know about, then only we have to get some idea about the what is a data mart, what is a reporting. I will just come up again this for these two slides, like eighth slide and ninth slide. After I will come. So now I just explain to you for the architecture. Now you can see what is the architecture of the data warehouse. So this is the architecture of the data warehouse, which means like what is the architecture mean by it is a structure. So this is the flow of the actually they are following to the doing the data. So here you can see this is a source. Source means wherever we have to receive the data, wherever whoever send the data, they are called the source. You can see ERP, data legacy, CRM, flat file, CSV, Excel, a notepad, text file. There are many in Oracle, Teradata. There are many source systems we have. Like we can get the data from there. So we have the we will receive the data from the lots of files. So those files is called the source system, source files. Okay, so we have to, I already told we just move the source file into in our database. Inside the database we have to maintain the two different layers. Okay, so before that how we have to load the data into our database with using the ETL process or any ETL tools. So we have to take the data from there and we do the some transaction, then then we will load the data into our database. Okay, inside the database we are just kept into the two different places. One is a a staging area, another one is a OLTP area. So another, which means like a OLTP means current data. So staging area means like we have to directly take the data from do the transaction, then directly load it into our staging area. From that staging area only we can load it into our OLTP location. Okay, so what is the ODS? ODS means operational data store. So once we have to receive the data from the source system, then we have directly load the data into our ODS. So after that we can load it into our data warehouse. When the data is coming into the data warehouse, once the data is going to be a old data, then automatically the data will comes into the data warehouse. So the data warehouse they are actually calling as a OLAP. Okay, so this is called the OLAP. Once we have to receive the data from the OLAP, we have to do the separation of the datas. What is a separation? Those separation is called the data mart. So you can consider if we are downloading the songs from the Google or some internet. Okay, so what we are going to do after downloading, we have to move those files into separate location, right? So this is called the Tamil songs, this is English songs, so like this is a videos, like that we have to do separation, right? So this is called the data mart. So once we have to receive the data from the system, then we have to do the separation for the each and every, like we have to do some, make some folders inside the data warehouse. That folder is called the data mart. Okay, so we here we can see this is a related with sales data, this is a related with HR data, ERP data, finance data. Like that we have to do the separation of the folder. Now we can go to the what, now we can detailed now we can get the detail about the data mart. What is a data mart? Data mart is a subject oriented. Subject oriented means nothing but it is a related with some subjects. Like if it is, I already show you for the subject which is a sales data, means we can store it our sales data only. So that is a subject oriented. So we have to store into the subjected areas only, like a subjected data only into that particular location. So data warehouse is a collection of data mart. So I already told the data warehouse, that is a data warehouse. Okay, so this is a data warehouse. Inside the data warehouse, how they are doing? So there are many data marts inside we have. So like we have the this data mart, this data mart. There are many data marts we have in that data warehouse layer. So this is what they are actually explaining. Data warehouse is a collection of data mart. Data warehouse is a superset of data marts. So nothing actually, which is the data warehouse is a superset, which means like there are subsets. So subsets have the one superset. That superset is called the data warehouse. Okay, so data mart is also another database. So which is actually, this is also one of the database. ODS OLTP is also one of the database. This data warehouse is also one of the database inside the data marts, right? So we have to separate some folders, right? This folders also is called as a database only. Like we have the data marts. Exactly, if you want to know, if exact name is a data mart. Okay, so this is actually what is a data mart. So what is the next step we are doing? So next step we are doing for the visualization. So visualization means like a reporting. So whenever we have to store the data into our database, we have to do the some visualization into here. Why we are doing the visualization? Why we are doing the report of? Why we are making the report on here? So I just show you one of the examples. So like we have the data like this. Okay, I just move on to in this place. I just create one table like this. This is what the table actually. So in this table we have the SQL, PLSQL, Snowflake, and Power BI. There are many rows we have. There are different columns we have. Okay, so as per this table, what is trying to explain on this table? So here we have the students are joining. So for the SQL, how many students are joining in Jan month? How many students are joining in Feb and March month? So like that we have to do the some making the report. So in Jan month actually students are joining in 5 students. PLSQL they are joining as 2 students. Snowflake has joined as 20 students. Power BI they are joining as 15 students. So this is how the Jan month is happening. Now we are going to for the next month. Next month is February month. So in the next month, February month, there are 10 students are joined in the SQL, and 15 students are joined in the PLSQL. 10 students are joined in the SQL, and no students are joined into the Power BI. So now we can see we have to do the comparison. So previously there are 5 students are joined, so everything is going good. Next month it's there are 10 new more students are joined, so it's going good only. So SQL is going good only, so it's everything it's going good. So that is the reason there are there are 10 more people are joined, so it's going is a growth only. So like it's little like a looks like something is happening for the SQL, so like it's a growth. So now it's coming into the PLSQL also, it's growth only. So it looks like it's going good only. In Snowflake you can see there are less students. So in Jan month they are joined for the 20 students. February month I can see for the only 10 students are joined. So what's happening into here? And Power BI you can see there are no students are joined into the February month. Now you can see what is happening into here. So we have to analyze the what is the issue is happening onto here. So we want to check the Snowflake syllabuses training, and how communicated with the trainer with the students, and how much of the duration of the course. So everything we have to do the analysis, then only we can do, then only we can implement the some actions. Because you can see it's going 20 students, it's decreased for the 10 students, coming into the 10 students. Now now we should know what is happening onto in this place. So we have to take some action, and we need to put some we have to do something on this Snowflake and Power BI. Then we can see for the next month if the Snowflake is joined for the 50 students, and Power BI they are joined for the 25 students, means now we can see whatever we have done the action, it's going good only. So whatever we have to done analysis, so those analysis we have to making the business purpose, like we have to taking the decision. So this is what we can do, this is how we can do. Then we can see there are lots of students are joined, so we have to do some advertisement, and there are many things we have to do in this place. So this is what actually for the reporting. So if you know the historical data, these are all the Jan and February month is a old data. If you have the know, if you know the old data, then only we can do some implement in the future data. So if you know the old data, then only we can do some implement for the better result for in future data. So this is what actually the reporting. So whenever we have to put the report, then only we can take the decision making. So here we can see the reporting is Power BI, Tableau, Cogno. There are many reporting tool we have in the market, so I can show to the reporting slide as well. Data reporting is a process of collecting and submitting data which gives rise to accurate analysis of the facts on the ground. I already told, right? So it is a collecting the data and do some visualization reporting. So there are many reporting tool we have in that market. So Tableau and Power BI, MS BI, I'm sorry. So Tableau BI, Oracle BI, MS BI, Power BI, SAS BI, Excel is also one of the reporting tool. So this is what actually we are learn about this data warehouses introduction session. We will learn more in future, learn more about the data warehouses in our future session. So thank you so much watching for my video. If you have any query or concern, you can directly reach me on this number. So thank you for watching this video.